Okay, here we go. Good afternoon. Today is Monday, November 17th. It's 4 p.m. I would like to call the Education and Economic Development Committee meeting to order. A copy of the agenda can be found on the county website under the tab for the legislature. I would ask that everyone please silence the cell phones and other devices, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Noreen, please.
Fagion?
Here.
Luhan? O'Donnell? Sosavich?
Here.
Savage?
Here.
Sierra?
Here.
DeGanga? Here. Menuda?
Here. All right. Thank you very much. We have a quorum. Okay, there's no actions being taken on any of these items today. These are just updates. So I'd like to start with Mr. Stephen M. Gross, Director of the Economic Development Committee, for an update.
Thank you, Chairman.
Welcome.
Thank you, appreciate it. We spoke a couple last month about a couple things that I just want to emphasize today. The Economic Summit, fourth annual one held in September.
Amazing.
Thank you, huge success. We had 300 people again talking about Made in Orange County. Really great wide section of the county and companies that you don't really think of here all the time. Universal Fin Labs, making aerospace defense film coatings in Newburgh. Places like Orange Packaging that are doing some really high-end things for companies like Revlon. We just have some unique things in Orange County. We're able to highlight Orange County's history all the way back from the time that we made Philadelphia cream cheese for the first time, all the way up through current, where we're now, in the mix of making everything from chlorhexidine gluconate, which is a surgical sterilizer chemical. And that's being made in the New Windsor area, in your district. So there's a lot going on in the county with respect to what's being made here. And it was a great event. So I want to thank all the legislators who participated and thank the chairman. I appreciate everybody being there. Aside from that, the foreign trade zone, we talked about this a little bit last time too. Still getting lots of calls, lots of activity. We added 3 new companies last month. One of those is a company in upstate New York. We did increase our rate schedule for the foreign trade zone. We've added a higher rate for out-of-state, out-of-county companies. We're the only FTZ that can give our benefits outside of our county to other counties in the state that don't have an FTZ. So we increased the rate structure. I think it's a great benefit for the county. So that's an interesting thing that we have going on with respect to the foreign trade zone tariffs and the program that's really taken off in the last couple months, I'd say, really more than in the past years. Aside from that, lots of interesting things going on in the county. We've got places like 12th Rock in the town of Wallkill, which is a huge sporting facility. It's under construction right now. They've got the site work prepped, ready to go. We've introduced the owner of that company to another developer that we're working with that's interested in putting in a huge ice skating facility in the county. And we thought it might make sense, instead of trying to have these standalone facilities and citing them, to try to partner them, blend them together. And it seems like it's a really good relationship that's starting to spur as a result of that. So great opportunity there. Places like Echo Fields in Westtown, places you don't hear about too often. Todd Lyons, he's a local paving contractor, has really taken an old farm property and turned it into a great recreational venue. And we worked with the health department, bringing the health department out to him because he wants to put in bathrooms and take it to that next level. So there's some really cool tourism opportunities that really are off the beaten path. And working with Amanda on those, they're really interesting. Aside from that, places like the Red Apple Rest, Tuxedo is about to see a big resurgence right now. You've got the Tuxedo Reserve, 1,400 really high-end homes coming into that area. You've got a lot of other interest in that southern part of the county, including a potential conference center that we've been talking about. So you'll be hearing about that in the coming months. I know we've been dangling it out there for a while, but I think it's coming to bear. In the Red Apple Rest, which was such a historical landmark in the county for many years. Yeah, I was talking to the guy. I said I kind of remember driving by and seeing the sign for 5 cents to use the bathroom. I think that might be up to a quarter by now, but it's a great place. The site's incredible, and they want to try to really reinvent that, turn it into some sort of craft brew, farm stand restaurant, market facility. And we think it's a great opportunity to rebrand that name and really help the town of Tuxedo, because they're trying to get some things moving there as well. They want some ratables, and they want to get that downtown area moving a little bit further along. FATN College in Middletown has done some really interesting things. They put on a forum. They've done a couple of them now, but they just did a very unique AI forum. They've recorded the entire thing. They're trying to really become part of the community with Northern University and try and create some value beyond the fine arts programs that they have. So stay tuned. I think you'll see some more stuff from Northern and FATN College. There's also a lot going on at West Point and Highland Falls. They're trying to really bring the development outside of the gate of West Point, trying to really encourage development along the Highland Falls corridor. So the Association of Graduates has been working with us. We're working with the planning department, trying to help maybe reconfigure the roadway. It's a little awkward when you come out of West Point. You're kind of got a double lane road and parking on both sides. See what we can do to reconfigure that to help bring some development outside the gate. We think it's just a really incredible showcase. You got the United States Military Academy here, and outside the gate should really reflect some development to, push along the things that are going on at the military academy. We should have better restaurants and hotels and opportunities for people that are visiting to come and go and stay in Highland Falls and spend some money and keep their taxes here as opposed to driving in and driving out after a football game. So lots of interesting things going on in that regard. Big projects we've talked about, the Amazon project in Wayanda has passed through the planning board process. Going to be a large project, 3 million square foot robotics distribution facility, employing over 1,000 people. It's gone through the approval process. It seems to be caught up in some litigation at this point, which is pretty typical of large projects like this. But stay tuned. It looks like it's moving forward incredibly well. And there's a lot of other interesting projects. The Warwick Conference Center site in your district. It's been out there for many years outside of the town of Warwick, village of Warwick. Beautiful facility on the top of the mountain. It's been owned by a church group. They're looking to do something. They have a camp program there. They're trying to really develop that property. Bill and I went out a few weeks ago and met with the board and the executive director at the time. I think there might be an opportunity for some sort of boutique hotel there to really use that as an incredible campus for hospitality. And when still talking about hospitality, another opportunity that it came up was a result of the conference center study. We were talking about the one in the southern part of the county, but Cornwall just last week, I guess, had in your district, Mr. Hines, a review of the NYMA facility. And I think they're going to do some sort of conference center aspect within the old New York Military Academy. So there's lots going on in the tourism hospitality world. I know Amanda briefs you quite often on film, and that sector is doing incredibly well with the facility in Montgomery and looking to do some new projects in Montgomery. I think they're working with the Montgomery IDA and the Orange County IDA on some other projects for film in that area as well. So lots going on. I wanted to kind of do a quick boom run through for you. Happy to come back and go through some more details, but I know you're on a timeline and good seeing everybody.
Real quick.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, appreciate that. Sharon said, legislative session.
Steve, a couple things. You mentioned 12 o'clock. I know the brothers quite well.
Yes.
Are you saying they want to put an ice rink there?
No, so they've got their facility. They're obviously looking for capital. They're still in the process. So we thought there'd be a marriage possibly with this other developer who's looking for property to develop an ice rink. So we're thinking there might be connections that could be made through the different functions that are out there. And again, when you're talking sports, we think a multi-sports facility makes a lot of sense rather than standalone baseball over here or football.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Good synergy.
And Echo Fields is a home run. But have you encountered either one of them? Bill could talk about it. You were there. Where were we out in that barn? Out in Montgomery.
Are you talking pennies or?
Penny's was there. I was a speaker.
Oh, yeah.
Paul, you were there.
Oh, yeah, the,
Montgomery Business Association?
No,
How's that?
that was the,
Divine Stables?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were talking about agritourism.
Mm.
And I've encountered it a couple times now in Echo Fields. I had a great conversation with Todd Lyons. People would rather see a Todd Lyons operation than to see colonials pop up in a little farmland. The problem is with local zoning and the fights that ensue based on, well, wait a minute, I don't want this to be, a cider house. Now, I don't want it to be this, I don't want it to be that. Well, if farmers are going to be able to survive, they have to go to agritourism. So Todd Lyons is a very successful blueprint for that. He planted the corn, he harvested the corn, he had a corn maze, he kept the barn, he's selling flowers, he's doing a bunch of different things there. But, that was kind of that meeting. I don't know what conference it was.
Vision Hudson Valley.
Vision Hudson Valley, that's
Which
what
is
it
a
was,
great
yeah.
conference.
And yeah, it was really great, very well attended and talking about the issues between agritourism and local planning and zoning, because New York State has commercial zoning, agricultural zoning, and residential zoning. They don't have a blend. So until they do that, but anyway. That's it.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Nango.
The study for the conference center, you said a bunch of these, but I'm assuming that those would all be small,
Yes,
like intimate ones. Have we come up with anything for the one we were looking for that we did the study for?
yes. Well, the study, if you recall, identified that we could support not one, but two, a larger one and a smaller one, right? So we're still working on the larger one, which is what I think you'll be hearing about hopefully in the next couple of months.
Good.
Anyone else? Hearing none, thank you very much for coming
Thanks,
in,
everybody.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty, next up, we have Bill Fioravanti, CEO of Orange County Industrial Development Agency for the IDA update. Welcome, Bill.
Thanks for having me. Good afternoon. Everyone have a copy of my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I do have a couple of. Need be. I'm gonna be a little longer than Steve. I don't get in front of you as much. I thought maybe I'd do a little bit of year-end review, kind of 2025, as it's been a very active year for the IDA and for our sister agency, the Orange County Funding Corporation. So probably being the last time I'm in front of you for the year, I thought I would just do a little review. First of all, I always like to start out with inviting you to our board meetings and committee meetings. We typically hold them on the same day, the third Wednesday of every month. So it's actually coming up this Wednesday. We hold them, typically we move them once or twice a year, but at our Orange County IDA headquarters at Stewart Airport. So we're there starting at 3 p.m. on Wednesday with our audit committee meeting, then finance, and then our board meetings for both OCIDA and Orange County Funding Board. Next, getting into the year in review. I've grouped it in a couple different categories. First of all, talking about the hospitality sector, because it's something that's been on fire for us. It certainly plays right into what Steve talked about. One of the reasons that we as the IDA are interested in incentivizing hospitality is to support the idea of a future conference center. That's something that we're really excited about. We want to see that. We want to win that here for Orange County. One, if not two, as you talked about. But as the study that Amanda's department and Steve's department commissioned together showed, we need more hotels to support that effort. So that's one of the reasons we're trying to support hotel development here in the county. The other reason is that we have all these tourists coming, thanks to the great work of Amanda and her team. People are coming upstate, especially. They are coming to our wineries, our breweries, our wonderful downtowns, et cetera. But if they can't stay here and lodging locally, then they'll go somewhere outside the county oftentimes, often outside the state, since we're neighboring Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and they'll stay there. And when they stay somewhere outside the county, that's where they shop, that's where they dine, and that's where we're losing a lot of revenue, sales tax revenues and such. So we want to capture that revenue and keep it within our municipalities. So you see, we've got some lodging that's being planned in places like Cornwall, Warwick, places that are really in dire need of it. So I'm just going to go through what we've done already. Candlewood Suites, that's a hotel in the town of Wallkill, kind of a new area off East Main Street being developed where the Quick Check is over there. This is a 58,000 square foot hotel, the Candlewood Suites Hotel, 101 rooms. It's a $14.7 million investment. Chet Patel and his son Shaylin, they're kind of known commodity. It always is nice when it's a local homegrown developer. He's developed a number of hotels, including the Home 2 Suites in the town of Wallkill. And again, he and his son developed this. It is open now. It created 14 new full-time positions and dozens of construction jobs. I will note, just to remind anyone that doesn't recall, the IDA has a local labor construction policy, so that if you get any sort of incentive from the IDA, it could be $1, you have to build with local men and women on the construction site. That's an 85% threshold. In this case, more than 90% of the men and women on that site were from the local area. The chairman and I attended their grand opening on July 23rd, and they're already full with people coming in from outside the area. Next item is Cornwall Arms. This is a boutique hotel planned for it's technically the town of Cornwall, but it's really downtown, so it does feel like it's the village of Cornwall on Hudson, and it's right on the border there. But I do think the village will benefit greatly from it. It's a 5-story, 35,000 square foot hotel. It is on the site of a former auto garage. So where there were contamination that spills that were cleaned up there. So it really is a property that's become a blight on the community. But to me, it's going to be a huge boon for the local area. again, people come to Storm King, they come to the river, they come to the parks, they come to hike here, they come to golf, but they can't stay in Cornwall outside of a couple of bed and breakfasts and, one small location there. So this is going to really allow them to capture a lot of that business. And again, sales tax and occupancy taxes leaking outside the county and the county altogether. They actually had a groundbreaking on September 12th for that project. So we're happy to help them celebrate that. And they plan to break ground later this fall. Next is Banta Hospitality. That is kind of like the Candlewood. It's for a Holiday Inn Express project, also developed by some local homegrown developers, the Bantas. Many know them from hotels they've developed in the area, or Buffalo Wild Wings and other things like that. Well, they own the Steak and Stein on Route 300 in the town of New Windsor. That was not long defunct now. And they raised that building a couple of years ago, and they've been working on this project for a new hotel on 300. We could use some updated hotels, that's for sure. I did work closely with the town of New Windsor supervisor on this, making sure we're on the same page and help them negotiate some terms themselves. But we did approve that. Again, this is going to be a 93-room Holiday Inn Express, 4 stories. The total project is about $24 million. And it'll create 24 full-time jobs. So that was just approved in October. And then we have a couple that are under consideration. Cedar Lakes Estate, if you've not ever heard of them, it is a place to check out. It technically has a Port Jervis address, right, Mr. Fagione? But it's actually in the town of Greenville, all right? So we have been working with the town as well as our folks in Port Jervis, because it really is playing by both for sure. Right now, they have 36 guest lodging units and 130 employees. People don't realize what a huge operation it is, and they really treat their employees very well. They have 401k plans. They really have career planning for them, so it's not just some sort of part-time job. They really take it seriously. And this is a proposed $10 million expansion. It would add another 20 lodging units at about 600 square feet on average. And part of what they're trying to capture is there are 15,000 unique visitors that come to Orange County. And they have about 1,300 wedding guests typically, because they'll have people typically coming from the city that will buy out the whole facility, all of their lodging units, but they still on average have about 1,300 guests that cannot stay on property. So they end up going outside the area. And again, we're on the edge of the state here. They're oftentimes most likely staying in Pennsylvania.
Just a quick question, Bill,
Sure.
not to interrupt your flow here, but for Cornwall Arms and Banta Hospitality, so both of those were approved through the planning board. They were also approved through the IDA?
They were.
And
They
so,
received their incentives.
and so both of these will have local labor, local aid.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you.
Absolutely. Cedar Lakes, bless you. Cedar Lakes is actually early in the planning board process. And while during my term here, which is 4+ years at this point, we've held public hearings shortly after they're authorized by our board. But what I'm seeing is that sometimes it's a protracted planning board timeline, like Cedar Lakes. They're very early on the process. We're going to wait to hold our public hearing till they're further through the planning board process, because as you know, there's a give and take to that process. And sometimes the planning board or the town itself will request some changes to the design, or, something with the layout, whatever it might be, egress. We want to have the public see the latest and greatest version of that of the project, so that we're not getting feedback on a project that changes significantly down the road through the planning board process. So Cedar Lakes, the board did authorize a public hearing. That's kind of the first step in our process, but we're probably not going to hold that for a few months until after they're a little further through the planning board process.
And just real quick, just for a refresher, the 45A and B obviously is always available,
Yes.
but the IDA ensures local labor.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is.
That's
I'm glad
different
you
than
mentioned that.
those things.
There is
So
the
unique
485B
opportunity.
program, yep, which for those that don't know, it's available as of right through New York State. If you're building a commercial project outside of New York City, you can get what I call half a pilot, where it's a 10-year term, but your taxes start at half of what the new taxes will be after you build your project, and they go up 5% a year for 10 years. So there's no fee for that. There's no application. There's no public hearing. There's no target on your back from any senators or anything like that. It's just available. And oftentimes we'll have right next door here, the Orange County Department of Real Property. They develop our pilot schedule. So they work with the assessor and figure out exactly what the payments will be when it comes to that. So they will oftentimes now give us a 45B analysis as well, Because that's really your baseline for municipalities to look at is what are we potentially giving up to secure the local labor or whatever it might be. It's really, they're able to get the 45B, again, as of right. They just go to once they get their C of O, they go to the town clerk and they fill out a form and they get it.
And it's
to the
all state.
Exactly, but there's no local labor tied to it. They can build out of area. A good example, it wasn't our IDA, but it was the town of Montgomery IDA. They had Medline for their new facility, 1.3 million square foot facility there. They were frankly chased away from the IDA. As a result, they got a 485B and they saved the remainder of the money that they had hoped to receive through the pilot. They saved that by building with out-of-state area labor. So they bring people from the south that are making far less, and they're able to meet their budget as a result. So they still saved the amount that they would have through a pilot, but they built, out of area labor. So it's important to note that for sure.
Yeah.
Anything that gets IDA incentives, OCIDA incentives.
Just want to keep the reminder out
I
there.
appreciate that for sure. Last one.
Wait one second.
I'm sorry.
Let-
There's only just what,
Legislator Purdue?
40 IDAs of towns have, like Oakville has one, right?
So there's the Orange County IDA, and then our 3 cities each have one. Newburgh, Middletown, and Port
Right.
Jervis has been a little defunct for a while, but they've gotten it back up and running. And then town of Wallkill and
Right.
town of Montgomery.
Are they okay? So,
Exactly.
thank you,
So 3, 4, 6 total in the county.
thank you, Chairman.
Staying in the hospitality sector, last one, I am excited about this one because it's in the town of Warwick. I know Mr. Gross and I went and visited this site, probably going on 2 years ago now. But it's a local husband and wife team, the Sullivans on Hawthorne Road. They have a beautiful 29-acre property there, and they want to develop a wedding venue with lodging there as well. So they're looking for to build a 24-room hotel, 15,000 square feet. It's an $8 million project. It will create 21 new jobs. Again, a few dozen local construction jobs. But they are going to generate sales tax and occupancy tax, popularly known as bed tax, for town of Warwick, who's losing all that business right now, really. It's another one where they're badly, in search of a hotel. This is a great one. And I've been in close communication with the town supervisor there. They're very excited. They want to see this project happen. So we have a public hearing for this one this Thursday, November 20th at 11 a.m. And as we do with basically every public hearing, we hold them in the host municipality. So we'll hold it at Town Hall in Wallkill or Warwick, whatever it might be. In this case, it's the town of Warwick. So we'll be holding that hearing on Thursday at 11 a.m. That's the hospitality sector. So very busy just with that alone. Next, I'll talk about a major retention project, Balchem Corp. To me, this is very, very important. We're always talking with our partners, including Connor Eckert from the Orange County Partnership. We're trying to attract really future-ready industry sectors that are going to be around. Even our warehouse distribution projects of late are in really viable sectors like pharmaceutical distribution, medical supply distribution. That's not going anywhere. That's really, really important to us. And we're also I'm going to talk in a second about a pharmaceutical manufacturer that we're attracting to the county. We're really excited about that. That's considered the life sciences sector. But we also want to keep companies that we have in those sectors here because, it's hard to attract new companies without trying to keep the ones that we already have. Balchem was formed, I did present on this several months ago here in E&E, but they were actually founded in the Middletown area in Slade Hill back in 1967. So pretty excited that they started and they grew globally. They are now an international company. They're traded on the NASDAQ. So they're BCPC, they're traded under. So you could follow them there. And they have locations, including manufacturing facilities all across the world. They manufacture encapsulated food materials that go into different food products, nutrients, animal feed, et cetera. Very high tech what they do. They moved their R&D services out of the area several years ago, and they moved their headquarters to Montvale, New Jersey. They were just off Dolson Avenue for the most part, in New Hampton. And their production facility in Slade Hill is incredibly outdated. It has been for a long time, and they've been a flight risk. I've been working on this project alone for over 10 years. They've been looking to leave the area, and we've been trying to get them to consider places here. And I give the Orange County Partnership team a lot of credit. They really closed that deal. They are going to be building a brand new facility in the town of Wallkill, actually. So we did work with Wallkill with this. Oftentimes that idea will defer to us and have us handle the project. So they are going to be building a 70,000 square foot manufacturing facility off Feeney Drive in the town of Wallkill. They're going to be retaining 32 jobs, adding 4 new jobs, and then there's also the prospect that this really lines them up to attract the R&D work back to Orange County. So we're really excited about that.
That's great.
Yeah, they expect to break ground in the second quarter of 26. Great company. It's important for us to keep them here.
Legislator Snenger.
Sure.
So, could you please explain, I'm sure there are people who are watching this, a lot of misinformation has come out regarding the IDA. As far as that we're giving away too much.
Sure.
And in the event, like this is the perfect project for what I want you to explain. If this company had left Orange County and wasn't enticed to actually come
Yeah.
back and build and expand and keep all these jobs, how much tax money would we have lost from losing that company and sending them out versus the amount that will be generated over this next 10 years of keeping them and expanding?
That's a great question. One thing I'll kind of take off from what you'd said, and I use the example of Medline, I mentioned them
Yes.
before, because Medline is the only example of a company whose pilot expired and then they moved. That's always what the bugaboo is. Everyone says, oh, when the pilot's up, they're going to leave. That's never happened in all the dozens of projects we've done in Orange County, except Medline. They were in 500,000 square feet in the town of Wayanda on Pine Lane. And they were expanding 3 times that almost. So again, they built a 1.3 million square foot facility in the town of Montgomery. So they left Wayanda when their pilot expired. But the important thing to remember is when the pilot expires, the taxes are paying full boat. Any other tenant that goes into that facility is going to be paying full taxes in perpetuity. The only time that taxes can be abated, which is phasing in of only new taxes, is if they expand it again. And there's actually no room to expand there. That's why Medline worked. Well, exactly. So I've heard people in Wayland say, oh, we got screwed because they, came up and left. Now the jobs left. Someone's moved in there and created more jobs. But again, those taxes can never go down again. So the taxes weren't lost, but the jobs can be lost, like in a Balkan situation. The taxes will be there. In their old facility, when they do vacate that eventually, again, it was in a state of disrepair. Those taxes may come down at some point. But they're building the town of Wallkill, and those are brand new property taxes that are being generated. And all we do with the IDA is, again, phase in those new property taxes, and only those new top property taxes that will result from this construction project. So the taxes never go down. That's always what the baseline is, whatever they're generating. So for example, skipping to Amazon, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but what's proposed in the town of Wayanda, that is an active mine right there, where they're blasting rock, creating aggregate sand, stone, gravel for construction, dirty trucks going in and out of there all the time, creating very few jobs. And the total taxes generated by that facility in Wayanda is $164,000 a year. If and when Amazon is built, after their pilot, it'll generate about $9 million a year in property taxes. Even during the pilot, which we've negotiated down from 20 years, which they were eligible for under our tax exemption plan, down to 15 years. During that 15 years, the Minisink Valley Schools alone will get $40 million in brand new property taxes. So that's kind of the numbers we're talking about. And really go back to the crux of your question is, these projects aren't going to happen without the incentives. Absolutely. Balkan made it clear. They make it clear in their application. They attest to it and sign it. It's notarized. It's an affidavit, essentially, that under penalty of perjury, they say we will not do this project without the incentives. We ask it in negotiations. We do it in public forum. With Amazon, we did it multiple times in the public forum to make sure, we get their answer there. But it's inherent in the application. So they're not coming without these incentives.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just wanted you to clarify that because of the misinformation that is out there and, that scare tactic.
Absolutely.
That gets thrown around all the time. And people who don't have any real understanding of the IDA need to understand what the process is and why and how much money is actually coming into the county, into our sales tax, into everything else because of these projects and these incentives.
Absolutely.
So
I
thank you.
appreciate the clarification.
I just want to highlight what you said. So the current quarry generates about $140,000.
$164,000.
$164,000 a year in taxes, and the school district alone is going to be getting 40 million.
That's during the incentive period, the 15 years. And then it goes up to over $8 million a year for the school district alone.
It's a no-brainer.
So in addition to 750 jobs that have full benefits for healthcare, dental, vision from day one, tuition paid for if you want to go to college or get a certificate, whatever it might be. And that tuition is paid up front, not afterwards, not tuition reimbursement. And if you get tuition assistance, you don't have to stay Amazon one day longer than you ever planned to. I got tuition reimbursement for my first job and I had to stay there for an extra 2 years. That's not the case. So, they're tremendous benefits, which I think people overlook a lot of times when they're looking at jobs. They're just looking at what the, the starting pay is. And because we have so many distribution centers, quality, Fortune 100 companies, they're all competing with each other for talent. So even though an Amazon may put $18.50 an hour on their application to conservatively say what they'll start at, you're not going to hire and retain people for less than $22 an hour here. So plus those benefits, plus the tuition, et cetera, et cetera. Even childcare consideration and what they're offering
Yeah,
here. So
those family benefits often run between singles somewhere around $17,000-$20,000 a year, and once you get the family, somewhere around 30.
absolutely. So that's the Amazon project. Again, Steve said 3.2 million square feet. It's actually, by the way, on that property where the mine is, it's already approved, months and months ago for a 900,000 square foot facility. So it's similar to the Amazon in Montgomery or, almost the size of the Medline that I mentioned. So it's already approved for that. This is actually, to me, far better project. It's smaller than the 900,000 square foot. It's on a 600,000 square foot footprint, but it's 5 stories. So that's why it's 3.2 million square feet. But I visited 2 of these facilities. They don't look like warehouses. They look like healthcare centers. They're unbelievable, these Amazon facilities. The trucks largely leave in the middle of the night. And again, the job creation, the taxes being generated, it's an absolute boon for the municipality of town of Wayland.
So the only people that should be against this project are those who don't like jobs, don't like people having benefits, don't like having income, and don't like people paying taxes.
Look, in their defense, there are certainly the NIMBYs, not in my back, which I do.
We all have those.
I don't want a theme park. I don't want a warehouse. I don't want a power plant. I don't want any of that in my
I
backyard.
did sell
I
towers for
understand. Yeah,
10
exactly.
years, trust me.
Exactly. But these are properties that are zoned industrial. Again, in this case, it's a current underutilized, under-tax generating site. And this is an incredible opportunity, far better than, most other warehouse projects that can come here. So that's why I think this is the right one for the town to seize. And we're hoping it happens. And by the way, also kind of to your point, Legislator Stegenga, we perform a cost benefit analysis for every project that we do. Usually we use a tool that all IDAs use. It's developed by a firm called MRB, and it factors in local construction labor, payroll, dollars, indirect jobs being created by you supporting other businesses and other construction jobs being generated. And in this case with Amazon, this is just during the period when we're providing incentives and discounting their property tax being generated. During that period, the economic return to Orange County is 11 times the value of the savings, the tax savings that the businesses get. So, and for Amazon and for Balchem, because it was a little different as a retention project, we actually commissioned a third-party economic impact analysis by a very common group, Camoin, works with a lot of IDAs, and it really outlined the enormous, billion-dollar impact of the Amazon project. Those are all on our website. I want everyone watching at home and all legislators to be to know everything is on our website. You go to it's Orange County, New York IDA, so OCNYIDA.com. You go to our project section. You can look up every project the board even considered. The application is on there, every resolution, every cost benefit analysis, all the public hearing transcripts, everything is available there. You can also go to our meeting section and look at past meetings or future meetings. You can see every document that's being seen by the board, that's being considered by them. Again, every transcript. You can watch the live stream. You can come to our meetings or you can watch them live stream. If we have more than 3 people in the room, it's on the TV. So you can watch that. And I always encourage people whenever I'm on the radio or anything like that, if you want to know more about a project, you don't see what you're looking for, you have questions, give me a call. I'm always happy to explain it. So I have a lot of conversations with people that may be naysayers. I can't always convince them, but there's a lot of misinformation that they're receiving. So a lot of times it's an eye-opening experience for them to hear the facts.
Bill, the turnaround and transparency is self-evident. So thank you for the great job that you have been able to do there.
I really appreciate that. I know we're running long.
Day to go early, it's fine.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. We mentioned Amazon. We did approve those incentives on October 23rd. And the last thing I will mention is Garanet Pharmaceutical. This is all about attracting new sectors to Orange County. I talked about the life sciences sector. This is a company that is also headquartered in New Jersey, but they have production facilities in India, really, and all over the world. They were looking to build a new manufacturing plant for their primary product, which is chlorhexidine gluconate. That is a pre-surgical scrub. It's an antiseptic used for surgeries. Medline distributes it. You see a lot of companies that you'll see the product out there. This will be the largest facility of its kind in the world. So I give, again, a lot of credit to the Orange County Partnership. They did great work to attract this one, and they're going to build at Stewart Airport, which I moved here in 1999, and we've been talking about further development at the airport that whole time. And this is an example of it actually happening. So a total of 100.
Longer than
I mean, there's
Yeah,
72.
that's just my
I
time.
still
There's been
remember
talk
when
about
you
since
took
then.
all the land from everybody and then didn't do anything with it. So.
Yep. So this is on a vacant parcel. Actually, it has an old barracks on it, or on one corner on Sue Kelly Drive, I think it is. But they're going to build 2 buildings totaling 180,000 square feet, 100 new jobs. And these jobs, the average frontline positions will pay $70,000 a year. So that's why we want these types of companies here.
All right. I just need to hear.
No problem.
Excuse me for one moment. I think we need to hear from legal regarding the 2 absences.
Yeah, so
We just lost her.
unfortunately, we did just lose our quorum to continue the meeting.
Yeah, but we're not voting on anything, so does that make a difference?
It does, and the quorum is the quorum to do anything within the meeting other than to adjourn to a later time. Unfortunately, that's pursuant to our legislative manual, even if no action is being taken. I don't know where everyone went. So to that extent, I don't know if they've left just
No, they left.
briefly or if they've left the meeting altogether.
Okay.
So-
No, they left.
They left.
All right. That being said, I guess we're going to have to adjourn. I'm going to thank Bill for being here. I'd like to thank you also for being here, Mr. Gross. Probably the last time that I will be meeting with you in this capacity. And I have to tell you, it's been an extreme honor and pleasure to work with both of you, and we've done some great things together over these last 8 years.
Same, sir. I'll say the same for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Okay. Do I even adjourn at this point?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Motion second?
Second.
Thank you.
Second.